week's episode of Dragon Ball Super, Bulma gives the future a glimmer of hope as she prepares to repair the time machine that was used by Cell, and future Trunks has a tearful reunion with Mai. The whole future Trunks being in love with Mai thing is just so weird in many respects. I mean, when you really try to boil it down and think about it, the fact that she was originally close to being like 40 years old, and then they made themselves kid again, and then they started to age again, technically making Mai kind of someone in her 60s dating Trunks. It's really strange. It's made even weirder by the fact that you have an even smaller version of Trunks there in the present timeline, who's witnessing all of this, presumably turning his mind into mush. That being said, this week's episode of Dragon Ball Super was a very nice story-centric episode, where we got to see everybody preparing to go to the future so that they can take down the evil Black, who has some very strong connections to the Kaioshin, at least according to Beerus and Whis, who claim they might even know who this guy is. And if you're looking all over the internet for spoilers, you're definitely going to learn who this guy is, but we'll get to that later on in this review, and don't worry, I'll give a spoiler warning before we jump into any of that stuff. But basically, this week's episode was real simple. Bulma realized that she had the time machine which was used by Cell, so she's going to repair it. Sunrise, sunset, everything's going to be fine. Problem is, it's going to take a little bit of time, so Vegeta's going to jump back into his training, and he seems really pissed about something. I'm guessing it's because of Black. He feels really bad for not being able to help out his future son. Either that or there's another big chip on his shoulder, and that could very well be Goku, who begs Beerus and Whis to train him, but to no avail, they're not going to do that. So that's when Goku decides to go and see Kaio, otherwise known as King Kai, who hilariously just immediately kicks Goku off of his planet because, frankly, he's sick of it being destroyed. One of the more important scenes from this episode is when future Trunks actually confronts the younger version of Mai and decides to tell her the story of what actually happened in the future, where we get to see this early confrontation between Mai, future Trunks, and Black. What's really cool about the Mai of the future is that she's very central to the human resistance. Essentially, she's the Sarah Connor of the Dragon Ball universe, with Trunks basically taking on the role of Kyle Reese. But what's really awesome about this scene is we get to see the humans trying to take down Black, and as much as they throw at him, as much ammo as they use, all the guns and explosions, and even going as far as to trying to trap him underneath all of these skyscrapers which collapse on top of him, nothing works against this guy. And it's really only Trunks or someone on his level or stronger that can take on Black. But we get to see the beginnings of Trunks' and Mai's relationship, which honestly is still just plain weird to me, but honestly, if they're happy, that's all that matters. I do think it's really funny, though, that Pilaf and Shu are like, hey, where are we in the future? And Trunks is like, I never met you guys. And that's like I said in a couple of my previous reviews, there's pretty much no way they would survive in that post-apocalyptic world. Also, I thought originally in the present timeline, the Pilaf gang has basically given up on trying to take over the world. No, Pilaf still has plans to do this, and I'm sure he's going to fail many, many more times. So what's the rundown on this week's episode of Dragon Ball Super? A very pleasant and story-centric episode of the series, which I honestly think is a necessary thing. Before we start going through these big time-traveling adventures and fighting against these crazy villains, we need an episode like this. And there were a lot of little funny moments in this episode that I really appreciated, like how Piccolo and Krillin are going to be forced to sort of pick up all of the damage that was caused with the battle against Black, although they're going to simply see it as training. I really hope this is a tease to the fact that both Piccolo and Krillin are going to get stronger, because the side characters of the Dragon Ball universe need some more limelight. Don't get me wrong, Vegeta and Goku are freaking awesome. They're clearly the best characters from the series, but I want to see some more of the other characters in the limelight just a little bit more. And that's also what I really love about the character of Bulma. Despite the fact that she's not like a fighting type character, she's been one of the most consistently used characters from the Dragon Ball universe. She's been there since the very first episode, and she always manages to be useful despite the fact that she can be a little vain at times, but she's still basically one of the default main characters of the series, and I'm glad to see how useful she can be, especially in this situation where she's using the time machine, which was originally used by Cell. They even go back and they do some brand new flashbacks, showing us the scene where Trunks decides to take that and put it into a capsule, and then eventually giving that capsule to Bulma. I really love when they take a previous arc and they find a way to make it relevant to the current arc. It just makes everything feel more connected. And then, of course, there is Goku Black. There have been a lot of spoilers online as to who his true identity might be, and they start to get into it a little bit more in this episode, and it definitely seems like that's where we're going to be heading into the next one, as apparently we might even learn his true identity in the next episode. If you don't want to be spoiled, go to the very end of this video. So, essentially, Black might actually be a transformed state of a Kaioshin by the name of Zamasu, or Zamas, who is that one green-looking Kaioshin, and this is a Kai from the 10th universe. That's right. Apparently, another universe that we've never seen before, which is connected with another one, has a Kaioshin in it, which is green, and is able to transform into various forms, or has become evil and is vengeful against mankind. Why does he look like Goku Black? Why is he taking that form? And why is he trying to get his revenge? That is all still a mystery, and that's what's going to make the next couple of episodes all the more interesting. I mean, there's clearly a connection between the Kaioshin with the frickin' Potara earrings and Goku Black, but they haven't made that clear what that is quite yet, and I really cannot wait to see what the deal is, because that's already turning this into one of the more interesting arcs from Dragon Ball Super. I really hope that Future Trunks is also going to be able to do some training as well. In the next episode, it looks like he's going to be hanging out with the present timeline version of Gohan, which is going to be such a stark contrast to the one that he knew from his timeline. I mean, they're basically completely different characters, so I can't wait to see his reaction to actually meeting him. Now, of course, he did meet him when he was a younger teenager, but now seeing him as an adult, not being as super powerful as when he was fighting against Cell, it's definitely going to be kind of shocking. Overall, though, this week's episode was very nice, basically a build-up for the next couple of episodes, but with lots of pleasant and funny moments, and even some cool action scenes in that big flashback sequence, and I can't wait to see what they're going to do more with this Black story. It's freaking awesome. So, I liked this episode. It wasn't my favorite episode of the series, but it was a necessary beast, so I'm going to give this week's episode a 4 out of 5. Another solid episode of Dragon Ball Super. Check it out, Dragon Ball fans. You might see something you like. But if any of you did watch this week's episode, make sure to tell me what you thought about it in the comment section below. Do you have any more theories as to what the deal is with Goku Black and his connection to the Kaioshin? How Beerus actually knows who this guy is, if he's actually met him before? And what do you want to see from the rest of this Future Trunks arc? Please tell me in the comment section below. You guys are awesome. Thank you for watching this review. I really appreciate it. If you want to help support the channel, make sure to subscribe, comment on the video, and share this with all of your friends. Thank you guys again for watching, and as always, stay dandy, baby.